Okay, so this is just part 2. All right, thanks for your patience. We will be resuming the session. So this is Eunice over here. Say hi, Eunice.
Hello.
Okay, and we'll be actually doing the session, all right, maybe on online, offline as well.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll hand over the time to Eunice.
All right, guys. So I was I have to restart the whatever I said earlier. So welcome. I am very excited for you guys to be here. So we are basically going to go through more introductory concepts for typography, calligraphy, and lettering. And the idea is to give you resources so you can actually improve on yourself after the workshop. And I was saying earlier that I have a artwork to be exhibited at the Jurong Regional Library, and the idea is to have your works, which we will make a little bit later. And then if you send them to me, I will include your works inside this holographic artwork that I've created. So right now, I guess Yuxiang is getting ready the other laptop. So we're gonna move on to the actual workshop. All right, so I'm gonna start with a little bit of the minuscules. So we're gonna do a little more of italics. Hold on. All right, guys. So these are basically the small letters that we call in typography. We call it all right, so the sorry, we are having a little bit of technical issues here, but basically the smaller letters for typography are called minuscules. So I want to focus on 3 letters today: the letter N and the letter A and the letter O. I'm going to show you how to do it, how to create our guidelines. So I actually have a gridded paper here. But for example, if you guys have a blank sheet of paper, you would need to have your pen ready. This is like a 3 mm nib. So the first thing you do is to have a ruler at hand. And if you don't have a ruler, that's fine. But I like to keep it a little bit neater. So creating your own guidelines actually helps to warm up your hand in doing the actual calligraphic work. So if I have a guideline like this, the length, the height of the small letters are usually 4 nibs. What I mean by that is I will create a height of 4 to 5 nibs such as like that. So you would see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nibs, and that would be a comfortable height for your small letters. Around maybe 1.5 centimeters. And I will create a whole guideline for that. So this height is actually, this will be the height of your minuscules. When I say minuscules, again, it means small letters. And you would basically repeat that throughout the rest of your paper. So if I were to write a letter N, usually italics, so we're dealing with italics now, usually italics are a little bit slanting forward. What I mean is, instead of, if I were to write my letters, instead of having one straight line like this, I would have it a little bit slanting this way. That would be the stem. So when we are writing italics with a flat nib, it will usually, the best degree for small letters is 45 degrees. So meaning I have 45 degrees slant on my nib. This is 45 degrees. So this will be a straight stroke. But if you want to take 45 degrees, it will go like this, right? And then since we are slanting our strokes for italic, you would have your feet going down. Usually, if you are experienced enough, you don't have to lift your pen off the paper. But if you stop here, you continue at the middle of the end. Make sure that everything is parallel. So the first exercise is to have this letter N in one guideline. All will be at an angle, the feet will be at an angle, and both stems are parallel to each other. There's a healthy amount of space here. So if I was to copy that, on my graph paper here, a little bit slanting forward, going up, going back down, and then the feet. So some ways you can customize your letter N is adding flourishes to your feet. So some people like to go like this little flourish here. So you actually move forward first before coming down. That's, and then moving up, nice big arc, going up again, going back in, and this is flourishes on the feet. So right now, while we try to complete to fix our technical problems, I would like everyone to give me 4 letter N's. This is a skill-based, practice-based exercise. So always remember, we want healthy spaces.
Oh no, video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, remember we want healthy spaces here. You don't want it to be too narrow. And then as you write your letter N, make sure all of them have the same width and decide on which feet you want. Both stems should be parallel like this. So if I was to like be nervous about it, I would kind of like mess up the strokes into something like this. So as you can see here, the stems are not really parallel. All right, so let's spend a few minutes to for everyone to give me 4 letter N in a row.
So meanwhile, we'll get our slides up. Okay.
Maybe I can put it. Yeah. So let me actually do the exercise with you. Remember my angle is 45 degrees. If I was to do it bigger, okay?
Yes.
All right. So if anyone is brave enough, can you show me what you've done? So someone asked, what pen am I using? I'm using this Zig Calligraphic Pen. I got it from Art Friend. Popular also have Elegant Writer. But this is what I'm using right now. It's 3 mm. 1, 2, 3. A few questions are coming. How much is the pen? This is, I got this for $3, $2.90, something like that. They have these brush pens, which are a little bit more expensive. I think this will be less than $5. So I'm going to demonstrate how to do this later. Wow, popular $2. All right. So is anyone brave enough to show us the, or turn on your video and show us your work, letter N work? Oh, look at that, JGL. That is a very good effort. So I'm seeing that some of the ends are very consistent, which is quite surprising. The feet are just nice. So like if you're nervous when you're writing, right, sometimes your feet goes a little bit too wide. And you don't really want that. You just want it to, the reason why they have the feet, when in the olden times, they used to have those basically pilot nibs that you have to, it's called a nib, and you would have to dip it in ink. They will do this little squiggly motion to kind of get the ink running. That's why you have the feet. So I can see y'all have consistent feet. So now I have a good gauge. May foam. Wow, that is good. Remember, yeah. So remember to keep your letter ends, they call it basically the width of the letter N. Sometimes you would have it a little too narrow or a little too wide, but make sure everything is consistent. If you want it wide, that's fine. But as long as it's consistently, the key for lettering and calligraphy is consistency. All right, so someone said, asked me to not sharing screen. Suhoya, that is a good effort as well. So it's, at this point, it's okay to have a little bit of hesitance when it comes to the strokes, because we are just starting out. But as long as you keep on practicing, there is a lot of letter ends. Okay, so since we have we're gonna move on, guys, to our next activity, because we actually were able to get the technical issues. So now I'm gonna show you my slides. While the first part, I guess, is to introduce why are we doing this. Just to skip ahead of time, I wanna mention that the reason why I'm doing this is because I have this artwork that will be exhibited at the Jurong Regional Library, and I would like to kind of allow people to contribute to that artwork. And also, in a way, for me, calligraphy is a very meditative craft activity. So whenever I need to, at the start of the week, whenever I need to plan my day, my week, or even like as a New Year's resolution, I would write out my New Year's resolution in lettering, and I was hoping that you guys would follow me along in finding a sort of this word that we want to manifest in 2021. Since I know it's March, but it's not too late to kind of like create a New Year's resolution for yourself. And just to introduce myself, I'm an artist and I've been a graphic designer for 10 years. So design has introduced me to typography and eventually to calligraphy. And this is actually the questions I have on the introductory quiz, introductory survey. And thank you to the people who actually answered some of the questions there, because I'm able to know what you guys want to learn today. To give you a little bit of house rules, I have this gem board that I've created. So if you want to like add a little add sticky notes, you can add. This can be accessed in the Google Classroom. So there will be times when I would like people to have their video on because I want to see your works. And this one not really important. And I would basically, if you have questions, you can put them at the parking lot. I have this document I've prepared, because if you put it in, you can ask me through chat, but once this session ends, you won't be able to access it. So if we have the questions on the document, I'll be able to answer and we can have discussions even after the workshop. So moving back to the slides, I'm gonna share this video. And we're gonna have a quiz after this video. So try to pay attention.
Hey guys! Today I'll be showing you how to create the calligraphy effect using affordable supplies that you probably already own. The assumption I'm making is that you've already learned how to write in a cursive or script style. If you'd like some printable guides or video tutorials, I will have some resources linked in the description to help you out. Also, the basic vocabulary that I'll be using in this video. First of all, a downstroke is the part of the letter that is generally thicker or darker in calligraphy. And these are the parts of the letter where you press down and pull the pen towards your body. The opposite of a downstroke is an upstroke, and these will be light and thin, and they're when you're pushing the pen away from you. These techniques will all require a bit of practice to master, especially if you are a beginner to calligraphy. You'll need to work on developing your hand dexterity and improving your ability to apply even pressure. A lot more like don't worry if you have quote-unquote bad handwriting. You can still learn to do calligraphy. Let's start off with markers with a conical tip, like Crayola markers. Start off by holding the pen at about a 45-degree angle to the paper. Then, when you're writing in cursive, press down so that the tip will bend when doing the downstrokes. That way more of the marker touches the paper and you get a thicker line. Don't be afraid to really press down and get the line thick. It won't break the marker. Hey guys! Today I'll be showing you how to create.
All right, so she's trying to show actually like even if you just have a pencil, you can actually create calligraphic works.
Next, let's use a number 2 pencil. This technique works best when the tip is slightly dull. You can hold the pencil how you normally write, and then you just write in cursive, but press down hard on the downstrokes so that the line is darker and thicker, and lighten up a lot on the upstrokes so that the lines can be very light and thin. You can do pretty much the same thing with a colored pencil or mechanical pencil and achieve the same effect. Lastly,
All right, so that video is actually just to show you that you can, basically use any kind of paper or pen, and you're on your way to, yeah, I'll share the link later. You're on your way to creating your calligraphic work. So we're gonna go through a quiz. I'm gonna copy and paste this on the chat. Okay, that's a chat for the quiz. Anyone is game enough, please go to the chat and try to do the quiz. Meanwhile, I'll give you like 2 minutes to complete. It's just like 2 questions. So in the meantime, I go back to sharing this. So,
hey guys! Moving on, let's use a chisel tip for the thin upstroke. Write in cursive, but press down hard where exactly to put the down in cursive, and then draw on thicker downstrokes. If you'd like a guide to where exactly to put the downstrokes, I will have a video and printable linked in the cards and description. This technique can be used pretty universally with almost all supplies that I mentioned previously and anything else you'd like, including gel pens, ballpoint pens, felt tip pens, markers, anything your heart desires. In fact, you can do this with a whiteboard marker to create calligraphy on a whiteboard.
all right, I'm gonna take a look at how the quiz went. So I'm gonna try to answer them as well. So which statement about calligraphy strokes is true? Downstrokes are heavier or upstrokes are heavier? Yeah, upstrokes are lighter. which statement is true about the speed of writing. I should be writing fast, I should be writing slow. So I'll give my answers. And all right, so the answers to the question, I'm very sure that most of you got a perfect score, but basically what this quiz is trying to tell you is that downstrokes are always heavier than the upstrokes. There was a part in the video where she was passing through double strokes on the downstrokes. And then don't be afraid to write slow. If you write fast, you can't really control on how you kind of the direction of your stroke, the weight of your stroke. You can't control it if you're writing too fast. But if you're slow and intentional and mindful about your strokes, you'll definitely have better results. So next, this is actually what we did just now. We were doing the letter N, exercise. So instead of just the letter N, I would like you to do letter A as well and letter O. So it will look something like this. This is one of my favorite calligraphers, Ina Saltz. I'll type down her name later. But this is her exercise. She's telling people to like do this NAO in sort of like one word manner, and to be conscious of this, not just the yeah, just help me ignore the black bar. But so I'm gonna annotate this. So pay attention to her strokes. It's fairly parallel, very clean, and the distance between the letters are very consistent, right? And also, though it's like different letters, the width of the N and the width of the A and the width of the O looks like they are all consistent with. So I know that people have already done N, A, O, the letter N. So instead, I would like to actually move forward with the session. But basically, this is one of the exercises you would want to do at home. All right. And I would like to move on to the majuscules. So here she's writing the big letters. Oh, this is just a small one. Annotate, clear all drawings.
Hey, Eunice, are you trying, do you need audio?
Yeah.
Can you share again? And then there's one share computer, share sound.
Again.
You stop share and share again with
Stop share.
share sound. Yeah. Okay, share again. And then before you share again, share sound.
Yeah. All right, Ken. So I would like to move on to the majuscules, which is the capital letters. That's what they call them. Now, just now, the letter N and the letter A and the letter O, I told you all to have them at 45 degrees. So now if you would see, I'll make the letter A. I'm gonna break them down into 3 strokes. And then the letter O in 2 strokes. So you're supposed to continue that sequence. But you can see here, I made this space is too big compared to this space. So when you're doing this exercise, try to like keep them together. Also keep the lines, the strokes, the major strokes parallel. And all the feet is 45 degrees. Now, if we are doing the capital letters, which is the majuscule, you would keep instead of 45 degrees, you would keep them at 30 degrees, the nib. So if I was to make the letter A, 35. That's how it would go like letter E, make a letter E. All right, so there are some sort of like peculiarities with the heights of the letters. Usually, this is the cross of your letters, right? This height is smaller than this height because you would want like this optical illusion to balance out. So if you put it a little bit lower, it will look like too heavy on the bottom. That's why you put the crossbar a little bit too high. So I think a way to demonstrate that is the letter S. For the letter S, if this is my guides, I'm gonna start the letter S a little bit lower, starting with the actual middle stem, like this. And then I'm gonna continue with the top curve and then the bottom curve. So it's good to break down your strokes, especially when you're a beginner. Some very experienced people, they don't even lift up their pens, but for us, we would want to break down our strokes. If you see this letter S, actually looks very imbalanced because it's more top heavy than the bottom. So I would adjust that by making it a little bit heavier at the bottom part of the letter. Right? And then just break down the strokes. So now it looks a little bit better than like if you compare this to, this looks a little bit more balanced. So the next activity I would like you to do is instead of writing, right? Instead of writing and like that, I would like you to try this on the capital letters. I would like you to try AES, AES, AES. So I'm gonna do it with you guys. Remember that if we're doing italics, the stems are slanting forward a little bit. So this is actually the 45-degree angle of the paper. So my E is slanting a little bit. then you would adjust the stroke of your A based on that. So I have 30 degrees on my pen, go down, and then, right.
Okay, Eunice, there's also a question from MC. I think it's apt for this letter. So how do you hold the pen for the horizontal line?
Yeah, so the trick here is practice. Most of the experts, they would know how to twist the lines even after, as they're doing the strokes, they would twist the pen. But if for a beginner, that's very hard. So for horizontal lines on majuscules, you would have, for me, I would still keep it at 30 degrees. Just going down 30 degrees. The pen should be like sitting nicely on the V of your, in between your index finger and your thumb, and just like holding a normal pen, close to the nib, your finger and index finger close to the nib, your middle finger very close to the nib, and very relaxed handling of the pen. Like if you're one of those people who has a very aggressive hold on the pen, what I do is hold another pen beside me, and then that will release some of the pressure on your right hand. So like just very slightly, not too hard, not too not too light as well. So like some people also like to add flourishes to the letter E's. I'll show you. Like they will have this. But that's up to you, right? So if you guys are brave enough, you can show me your AES on your video screen. Oh, so like in Chinese calligraphy, if you watch the masters, they actually write very slow, concise strokes, but it depends on the expression of that actual stroke. So like, it depends on the character as well. If you have a character that is aggressive, then you would express yourself based on that. So like if it's a downstroke, or if it's curved, some would like really write slowly. But in general, calligraphy is advised to be done at a very slow pace, so you have more control over the pen. So does anyone have a AES writing to show us, please? Grace? Unfortunately, you're all right. Those are very good attempts. So for the letter A, right, I'd like to say that there are letters that needs, so just now I said letter E, the crossbar is a little bit higher, but I forgot to say letter A, actually it's a little bit lower because it's already, as you can see, this part is already top heavy. So you would want to balance out the illusion, right? You would want the crossbar to be a little bit lower so that it balances out. So I'll show you letter B. Letter B, if I do the proper way, they would like stop like this and then curve down a little bit higher than normal. And then I would break it like in 2 parts. Break it in 3 parts. And then the stroke here. All right, so the strokes, you would need to break them down accordingly. Some, if you're like
Eunice, you need to push up your
enough.
paper a little bit.
How
You need to
what?
push up the paper. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so sorry about that. I can't really see. So what I'm doing is I'm breaking down the strokes for you guys to see. If for the B, since it's a very busy letter, I would put the actual width narrower than other letters. Like for example, if I was to do a letter O, 2 strokes for letter O. So my letter O will be a little bit wider because it's a very simple shape. But B is super busy. There's a lot of lines going on there. So I would like it to be a little bit narrower actually. And the crossbar is over here. I want, in terms of calligraphy, you would want some of your letters to be heavier at the bottom. It looks a little bit more balanced that way. But for letter A or letter H, right? Let me do a letter H. Since letter H, the way that it's a super clean kind of letter. So I would want my crossbar to be a little bit heavy, lower over here. I'm exaggerating this, but actually it's a little bit more exaggerated. Let's do it again. Okay. So I'll do it like a little bit lower because you would still want that illusion of like heavier, heavier bottom part of the letter. So that is why your letter A, the crossbar actually should be lower because you see here only got two points. Here very heavy. So those are some of the way you would deal with the illusion of letters, like in terms of the shapes they have, how you would arrange them. Does anyone else want to show me their work? So I can like give you guys a little bit of feedback. All right, so I have Grace there. Perfect. I'll show you, yeah. All right, Grace, let me see again. This is a very good, strong effort. I love it. So also remember that you have to keep your the slant of your letter E is consistent. So if it's like this, right, I should keep it consistently like this.
Eunice, maybe you want to switch over the camera.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would want all my strokes to be consistent. I mean, of course, it's very good effort. But what if I want to improve on the letters, I would keep all my downstrokes very consistent.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Can I check, Eunice?
Yeah.
Grace here. Okay, for the A, right? So my stroke should follow a straighter, or should I be consistent with the E, like what you just mentioned?
All right. So very good question, Grace. That is one of the difficult parts of calligraphy. Maybe I should. All right. So the thing is, if I was to, let me get a fresh. If I was to block my letter A in terms of like more non-italic, more straightforward kind of letter, I would have it looking like this, right? But if I want it to be italic is a good exercise to be conscious of the forms of the letter. Then in my own interpretation as a calligrapher, I would make a decision how much slant I want my letter A to be. So you see, this part is more slanted, and this one looks more straight. Yeah. So as you practice more, it actually it comes naturally. If you get more conscious about your letters, this is a very sort of intermediate question that, as a calligrapher, as a lettering artist, you get to decide how your letters look like. So some would even like want to go this way, right?
So it's more like freestyle for us when we are more more used to the writing skills.
That's right. So the important thing is to be aware of the shapes of the letters, and that they are not a 1 + 1 = 2 kind of letters, but it's very subjective, and it's very it relies heavily on the illusion of the forms of that letters in terms of optical illusions, like what I was mentioning earlier. This is actually straight, but if you want a non-italic letter, it would not be straight, and then you would kind of decide as an artist, as as a person who's doing calligraphy, which looks best for you, which only can be sort of like validated when you practice more every day. And also maybe looking at, I will show you some reference later, like artists, so that you can look at how they do their letter A's or letter V, even letter V, right? How they do their letter V, so that you have a reference of what is considered canonically good type. So just now there was someone who was showing me her work. Anyone else?
Okay, there's a question in the chat. So how do you differentiate writing and capital I and 1?
How different between 1 and I? Well, again, that is a question that is more to the intermediate level, but thank you for asking that. I would say that capital I in italics, right? It's super obviously, it has this crossbar. And then some people will have their own flourishes. Some people would want it like a little bit, sorry about that. Some people want it a little bit narrower. And then I'm not gonna cover the number 1 in this workshop, but basically what difference is that the forms make is the flourishes around the letters and the numbers. And you would have typefaces that would intentionally want to differentiate number 1 and letter I, unless it's that's the beauty of calligraphy. Unlike the computer typefaces, they like to have characters in them, so that you get to demonstrate and flourish your letters so that they don't look alike. And again, I would say the same, that it's up to you to have how much flourish you would want to put. So like some people would have letter I. And then number 1. Different ways of doing letter I. So I think the important thing as well is to, when doing calligraphy, is to be conscious of where your strokes are. For example, if I was to do a letter I in this manner, I would start with 1 stroke at a time. Some people can do it continuously, but if I was a beginner, I would do it like individually. Instead of like doing it in one go, break down the strokes. All right. So guys, do you describe the someone was asking about subjectivity. Good way. So I commend people who do not use guidelines. Because it allows you to kind of practice and be conscious more of the form of your letters. But in terms of always follow this for capital letters, you would like take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, around 7. So this would be my guideline for capital letters. Then if I were to do my letter M, I would start with something like this. These are the seven nibs. So this is 1 nib. Some people like 7.5. Oh, anyone else want to show me the work? If not, I'm gonna move on to May. Yeah. Very nice. So I like that your letter S is heavier at the bottom. Very good. Good effort. And I can see that you're trying to slant the letters as well. So guys, let me move on to to another part of the actual workshop. And now we are going to actually write. I know that in terms of, this is just a very basic kind of workshop. And I know that I haven't really been able to give you all the concepts you would need, but I would take maybe 10 minutes and I would like you to do an exercise, which is write down your 2021 work that you would like to manifest. For me, it's the word hustle. So let me do the exercise with you guys. So right now, let's go do 10 minutes to write 1 word, and after 10 minutes, we're gonna show our work on the video. So I guess I would try to write it in
May I ask you a question?
yeah.
For the downstroke, you say it's heavier, upstroke is lighter, but what about the crossbar? Is it lighter? Because now it's a cross, so
yes. So let me show you the this downstroke, upstroke. It's for brush like this. This is a brush calligraphy pen. So let me show you a letter H for the brush calligraphy pen. So that's basically for the brush. But if I want to have an italic letter, I would always, for capital letters, I would always have this at 30 degrees, which means that even my crossbar, it's also 30 degrees. So it's a little, it'll appear a little bit shorter. And I mean like thinner than.
Oh, a bit thinner, okay.
Yeah, so this is a little bit thinner than my downstrokes. But obviously, if we talk about brush calligraphy, it's now very different from this downstroke, upstroke idea. But for italic block letters, it will be more consistently like either 45 degrees or 30 degrees. So this is for small letters. This is for capital letters. So if I was writing letter H as a small letter, so I want to iterate that in italics, everything is as much as you can put everything is in downstrokes. There's experienced people who can basically do calligraphy acrobatic, like, but for example, if I did a letter U at 45-degree angle, I would stop here and then do another one. So this actually needs to be 45 again. So some people would do it like this. So you see, I'm not very consistent. These lines are not parallel. So it's important to have your lines parallel. But I hope you guys don't get too confused about the difference between these two. Mostly if I'm doing italics, I would want all my strokes to be going downwards. So let me do a letter S. And then letter T. So let's do a letter E. That's 2 strokes for letter E. 2 strokes. And all the strokes going downwards. So if I was to critique my own work, I would say that I think this letter L, in terms of, we call this kerning, the space in between the letters. So this space is narrower than the other spaces, means I actually have to move these letters a little bit closer. These are like, in terms of doing calligraphic work, like lettering, you would have to pay attention to this idea of like that your hollow spaces, your counter spaces are all very consistent. So these need to look fairly of equal sizes. This letter S. Let me do another letter U. So in terms of the arc in your feet as well, it has to be consistent. So this one is not too consistent with the top one. Why do you have to do downstrokes only? Is that for italics? So I want to mention again, if I'm doing brush calligraphy, I would have upstrokes and downstrokes. Let me do the word hustle in brush calligraphy. So I tend to like, I'm not calligraphy master, so I will break down my strokes. Right. Let's do that again. Does anyone have an artwork you'd like to show me? So again, this idea of upstrokes and downstrokes are only necessary for calligraphy. Going down and then going up. Only necessary for brush calligraphy. But in terms of the italics that we're doing now, it's all about going down strokes. So letter O, I break down in 2 parts. Penny, gratitude, calm. Wow, that hustle is quite good. Zeltang. I will try to match that hustle.
All right, so while Eunice is writing her hustle, there's a question from Angeline. So, hi Eunice, any tip on how do we gauge the measurement of each letter to be consistent with other letters. So which means I think it's the amount of kerning in between the letters.
Yeah. Hi, Eunice. Any tip on how do we gauge the measurement of letter to be consistent with other letters? So the thing about type, right? I'll show you something that I've added in the Google Classroom. Share. Oh, it's not here. What is it? This one? No, it's not this one. Let me go through this one. So this lady's name is Eunice Lacaste, and she's one of my favorite. She's one of my favorite calligraphers. What is this black box?
I think it's the interface for. Let me try to get rid of this.
I don't know. I can't take it up. So the question was, how do you gauge a measure? The thing about type, this is more about typefaces, is that some of the letters you need to gauge them by how you see the letters as formed. So yeah, how do we? Hold on.
Okay. All right.
All right. Anyways, so I'm gonna annotate here. Look at the letter G and the width of letter G, the weight of the letter, and then the letter B is it's two different things. What I'm trying to say is that based on the form of your letters, like the more round the letters, like for example, this letter U, these are the rounder letters. They tend to be fatter. This one tend to be more wide than the busier letters, like this letter R. They tend to be narrower. And also in terms of like what I mentioned just now, the letter, the crossbar, and most of the letters, right? For example, this letter K, letter X, is actually shorter than the rounder letters, which is letter O and letter Q are much taller than letter K, and this letter A as well is much shorter. So what I'm trying to say here is that typefaces, calligraphy, and lettering, the more you look at the letters and realize the form and the reason behind that form of why they are fat, why are they narrow, it'll be easier for you to kind of measure how fat or narrow you want, how wide or how narrow you would want your letters to be. Obviously, letter M is wider than letter V because of its form as well. And if you go to the library, we have these references that will tell you, like you can borrow books about how to basically do the flourishes, and it will provide you some instructions on how to do your strokes and instructions on the materials. The library has a lot of books about typefaces as well. Right? For example, it actually shows you the anatomy of calligraphy and the type. I can't really cover much at this moment because of the time that we have. All right. Who else? Could you show us book titles again? I would give out resources at the Google Drive, but
Yeah.
you
Maybe I
can
do a quick one.
yeah, you can go to the library. I'll probably just type it out, huh? They can't really see it from
Okay.
here.
Maybe I'll just go to my terminal.
All right. Yu Xiang will do it. This one is called hand lettering A to Z. So it will tell you what is like different kinds of serifs. You in italic lettering, you would have black letter, you would have Frankfurt, very complicated anatomy as well. Does anyone have artwork you can show me, please? Okay, May freedom. Wow, that's a good word and very well written. And I can see that it's becoming consistent, resilient. Oh, you even did both italic and the brush calligraphy. Nice. Anyone else can show me the works? Mailing. Can you put it health? Yes. Hey, Mailing's letters are actually quite consistent. Jennifer Tan, those are very good flourishes. So if you can see her feet, the feet of her letters have an extra character to them. Yeah, I thank you all for keeping up and being patient about the technical difficulties. And we are coming to the end of our workshop. I would really want to show you more stuff. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time on our hands, and I think Yu Xiang also want to show some books.
Okay, so addressing the questions about the books just now. All right, so thanks Jennifer for this coming back to this topic. So to find more books about calligraphy, we do have a whole range of books to go for. Okay, so things like this lettering with purpose. Okay, this upside down. Okay, you can find it in 745.6. All right, in the recreation section. Okay, let me pin myself. All right, so you can go to the recreation section 745. That is where you can actually find more books on calligraphy. Okay, so I hope you can actually check some of them out. Okay, so we do have lots of books and even more coming to us. All right. So thank you once again for making time for today's workshop. So this is the last of 10 sessions of programs that we have for a blip in time. So hopefully you can make time and come down to Jurong Regional Library. We'll be actually installing and finally displaying the works between the 1st to the 14th of April. Okay, so thank you once again for coming down.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to all the people again for attending. And if you want me to, please let me include the words you've written today. You can email them to me. You can post them at the Google Classroom. Here's my email. And of course, the Google Classroom, you will be able to upload the links there. I will show the books, post it on Google Classroom, and even send you the links. So don't worry about that. And yeah, just guys, just keep practicing. Challenge yourself every month, write a letter, and come down to Jurong Regional Library for those who submit works to me that I will put in the holograph. Come down to the library and look at your works being displayed to the public. Yuxiang?
All right, so thank you once again. You can find really a lot of books on calligraphy. So actually, this is just a subset of a lot more books that we have in the library. All right, so maybe let me stop my recording.